What does your alternative mean to me? It's a promise. To me, it means smarter options for running my business. A focus that runs from the source of crop protection products to distribution and to the fields. As this business evolves, modern innovations drive bold new possibilities, new opportunities at every turn. In my view, smarter business practices have the power to improve the entire industry, to make the world a better place by growing healthier crops. But I can't do it alone. It takes a partner willing to make agriculture and business thrive. A partner like Alba. Its roots run close to my own, a company built from the ground up to change the game for its clients. Alba is a helping hand along this journey, a global company extending from the Americas to Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Alba is the source for high-quality crop protection products and great service at competitive prices. But more so, Alba is a partner that gives me the tools and support that enable me to do more, meeting the challenges of today. I see a stronger future where we can grow together. A future that now appears more achievable, more sustainable every day, because I have a smarter path to grow my business. I see a brighter future because I have Alba, your alternative.
For those that might not know what this technique is for weed and pathogen management in organic situations, can you explain what anaerobic soil disinfestation is and sort of what it's promoting in that soil ecosystem?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty complex thing, which we understand a lot of components of, and they work sort of in unison together. But the way I like to look at sometimes is sort of when you look at main component of ASD is a carbon source. And so a carbon source that we use, whether it's going to be a rice bran or wheat bran, typically they go to California dairies and we feed cows with them and animals. Well, this is kind of a similar approach, actually. We're feeding microbes with them in soil. They're consuming it as a food. And because we have a plastic mulch in the soil mixed with this carbon source, there's no oxygen exchange with soil, and anaerobic species prevail. And what they do next, we have pretty good guesses. I mean, it's unless you live among those microbes yourself, you can't 100% exactly say what's going on every moment of time. But because we studied so many different components, we can kind of piece together a little bit of a story. And what it is that anaerobic conditions themselves suppress pathogens and germinating weeds. They also change pH of the soil, which is a benefit for us because our soils are very calcareous in California, especially on the coast here. And they provide nitrogen, micronutrients, and phosphorus, all the beneficial components. And so every day, every hour, maybe even, so the conditions change. So all those things happen sort of not quite simultaneously, but the end result, you have the suppression of pathogen and weeds, you have better fertility.
I know it's used in organic strawberries a lot in the state. When done effectively, what can really be the achieved results from ASD, maybe in a situation like that, and maybe how that compares to other similar methods that are trying to achieve the same thing?
Yes, the effective ASD, in my opinion, has to have anaerobic conditions to approach certain number of what we call anaerobic hours, cumulative hours. So there's a sort of a threshold. In the early days of ASD research, we designed as 100,000 for suppression of verticillium and wilt with excellent suppression. So that was sort of a benchmark. And it's sort of different. They can be different for different pathogens, maybe even different weed species as well. But it gives an indication that it's succeeding well. Of course, you can also smell it. That's a simple way to know it's working. But once you accomplish this, we've seen very good suppression of Macrophomina phoceolina, charcoal rot pathogen, which is a big problem for us in strawberry. And it can work not just by itself, it has to combine it with other methods. For example, or just a big picture crop management. For example, in summer berries, if you can do it effectively, and if you have maybe some survivorship, the disease progression is so slow in the winter. So if you can get a clean environment for roots to begin, the plants can establish and grow well. By the time the pathogens that interacting with plant, the temperatures drop in the wintertime and disease doesn't develop. So you can kind of align this technology with other tools and other considerations to make it even more effective if you place it in the right place in the right time. And so there's no silver bullet approach. I think we all realize that with every method, since we moved away from methyl bromide, this hasn't been a perfect solution to the fumigating soil or disinfecting soil for that matter. They're all either cumbersome or expensive or a combination of both. They have to fit in the long-term management. And I think ASD can fit pretty well here in the southern soils for us.
I think it's important that you said it's not a silver bullet approach to managing these weeds and pathogens. It's a tool that's in the toolbox. With that being said, though, you see, you and your colleagues are still putting a lot of effort into making this a more efficient, effective approach and more economical as well. I'm wondering if you could kind of explain some of the work you're doing right now in that regard.
Yes, it's exactly right. There's no silver bullet approach, and we have to have every tool available, and it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all situation. There might be a situation where you have cold soils, like in Watsonville, and a pathogen like Fusarium will actually proliferate in the presence of carbon source. Not a good scenario.
Yeah.
Or maybe situations we have warm soil, you can do really a good job with ASD. But the concept of people who try to ASD early took off because it seemed to work well for a lot of folks, especially in the South here. The biggest complaint, and that's not just my complaint listening to the growers, we actually had a scientist who was doing interviews and trying to figure out the sort of barriers for adoption. So yeah, it's not surprising the cost of doing ASD, the cost of the carbon source, the cost of transportation of carbon source been going up. And because of that, it doesn't surprise that growers always complain of higher cost of every input. And it's correct, exactly right. We have to find ways to do it more economically. And that for that, we look for what we call alternatives to rice bran, something that we can use as effectively as a rice bran, but hopefully cheaper. And that's a continuous process. Over the years, we tried a variety of different things, and it has to work well. It has to be easy, economical. I can give you some examples, things that didn't work. It's a continuous trial and error thing. And with mids or with middlings, we had really good results and a little bit cheaper than rice bran. And they produced more local in Southern California and Bakersfield and San Bernardino in the milling plant. So we're trying to cut costs both on transportation and actual source itself. So it's going to continue on. We have to, and maybe it's going to be a different product for different regions. If you find something local, you don't have to transport long distances. Great. Let's make it work.